It was 1948 when the first piece of novelty chocolate was produced by the R.M. Palmer Company. Now, 50 years later, the Palmer name represents a success story that's a credit to hard work, determination, innovation, and of course, the most delicious chocolate candy you'll find anywhere. Today, as Palmer marks its 50th anniversary, the company is a leading force in the confection industry. With over 600,000 square feet of operating facilities, the company produces and ships over 40 million pounds of candy across the U.S. and around the world. But the Palmer success story starts with a very modest beginning. Upon his return from World War II, Richard Palmer Sr. went to work in a hosiery mill. But his keen business sense told him that opportunity was waiting for him in the chocolate novelty business.
During the war, these products were not permitted to be made due to war regulations, and there was rather built-up demand out there that the capacity in the industry could not fill. Being aware of this, I decided to go into the business and was able to find some second-hand equipment that would do the job.
So, with an initial investment of $25,000, Richard Palmer purchased some second-hand equipment and set up shop in a small rented building in Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania.
We started out very small, but we had a couple of good things going for us.
The Palmer line started with just 4 items: Baby Binks, Bunny Binks, Daddy Binks, and Hen and Egg. Back then, chocolate bunnies were plain, but Richard Palmer's were unique. They were molded in cartoon styles and had their own personalities. In its first year, Palmer got a break when W.T. Grant stores agreed to stock Baby Binks in November to see if they'd sell. Well, W.T. Grant came back with a $20,000 order for Easter, and the R.M. Palmer Company was on its way. The company started with 4 employees, the first of whom was Verna Shoup. Ironically, Mrs. Shoup's husband delivered the first chocolate to Richard Palmer, who asked the driver if he knew anyone who was looking for a job. He suggested his wife.
I stopped down to his address and met Mrs. Shoup, Mrs. Verna Shoup, who turned out was our first employee.
I'm at home and there's a rap on the door and there's Mr. Palmer wanting to know if I'm ready to come up to the plant and help him wanted to run a little bit of chocolate, and would I help him those first few days? I said, sure, that's fine. And that's how it all started.
The company was becoming established, and in 1951, its operations moved to the city of Reading. There were 120 employees working 3 shifts, and the product line had expanded to 15 items. It wasn't long before Palmer outgrew that facility. So in 1958, the company moved to its present location in West Reading, where a new, innovative molding line was introduced. Richard Palmer called on engineer Mike Avedisian to help him design Line 1.
It was a great fortune for me to have been involved with the R.M. Palmer Company throughout those years. The company has been wonderful to me, and I hope I was able to do my part for the company.
Line 1 was one of the first automatic molding lines which could produce multiple items at the same time. Today, the line still is probably the most versatile molding operation in the world. It produces 20 to 30 different items at a time, hand or machine decorated. One of Palmer's most unique features has always been its handmade icing decorations and bows. Each year, these teams make 7 million bows and 50 million icing decorations. In fact, the personality of each chocolate bunny is determined by its bow and icing decoration. The 1960s brought continued growth. Another hollow molding line was installed. Building number 2, known as the Eggplant, was added, and the company expanded into Christmas chocolates, its first venture outside the Easter season.
First, when we started, this was a seasonal job from September to Easter, and you had the same people coming back almost every year.
In 1967, a new 60,000 square foot distribution center was built in nearby Berkshire Heights. And before long, that facility had to be expanded to accommodate Palmer's tremendous growth. New product lines were being added to the mix. The 1970s saw Palmer introduce a line of Valentine candy, and the company developed a new recipe called Double Crisp, which combined chocolate and Rice Krispies. Also, Palmer was the first to introduce flavor combinations into the seasonal novelty business, including mouth-watering peanut butter, caramel, mint, and fudge in many new shapes and sizes. It was in 1979 that a changing of the guard began to take place. Richard Palmer Sr., who founded the company, began to turn the reins over to a new generation of leadership, including his son Richard and other top Palmer managers. Then, in 1982, Richard Palmer Sr. officially retired, and a new era was launched when Richard Palmer Jr. was named president. He brought an infusion of new ideas, and the company was on its way to reaching even greater heights. These innovations included award-winning package designs, attractive see-through window boxes to perfectly complement Palmer's unique bunnies, and storybooks incorporated into the packaging for an added special touch. So, as success continued into the 1980s, Palmer's facilities had to keep expanding, and its product mix grew to a total of 200 items. But the real keys to Palmer's success have been innovation and ingenuity. For example, Line 8, a unique solid molding operation, was installed in 1991. Designed and built locally, the line decorates candy with up to 4 colors, fills candy, and molds crisp product all at the same time. A Bauermeister system was added so Palmer could produce its own chocolate coating. A few years later, the system was expanded to increase production capacity to more than 30 million pounds per year. In recent years, the continued rate of growth prompted the company to construct a new distribution center in Exeter. The facility features a cooler for non-chocolate products and more than 300,000 square feet of space. And just last year, another revolutionary molding line was added to produce chocolate hearts, rounds, and peanut butter cups. In fact, it's the first line to automatically in-feed chocolate hearts. Today, the Palmer name is recognized as one of the most dominant players in the candy industry. If you need more proof, consider the fact that Palmer has the largest market share of any producer of seasonal chocolate novelties in the United States. What about the future? Well, the next generation of leadership is making sure that R.M. Palmer Company is poised to build upon its successful past.
We started with 4 employees and 4 items for Easter only. Today, we have over 500 items in our line for 4 different holidays and over 900 employees.
Of course, you'll find Palmer candy in every major store chain in the U.S., but it also serves a global market these days. Today, the company ships chocolates internationally to customers in Mexico, Canada, South Korea, and Russia.
I think the next 50 years are an exciting thing to look forward to. Certainly, it's going to be a lot of the same things we've done. There are going to be lots of new Easter items, new Christmas items, new Valentine items. I mean, selling candy is a lot of fun. It's not like selling tires or something like that. I mean, we're selling a great fun thing here. Really, it's people that have made a difference. Berks County has always been blessed with a great work ethic, and Palmer is no exception. From the factory floor to the office, our people have always pitched in and have been the difference between Palmer and the competition. And I think that will continue as we go forward.
As you can see, the Palmer Company's success has been built upon a foundation of strong leadership, innovative ideas, and an incredible team of talented, dedicated people committed to making the most delicious, most unique chocolate novelties you'll find anywhere. Along the way, the family business has always kept its focus on making our community a sweeter place to live and providing our employees the opportunity to grow, prosper, and enjoy a secure quality of life. These things have made R.M. Palmer Company the success it is today. But the most extraordinary part of this tradition is the role that Palmer candy has played in those special moments cherished by millions of American families. Warm, festive gatherings of friends and loved ones celebrating Christmas with holiday chocolates. The laughs and squeals of little trick-or-treaters returning home to find their bags filled with Halloween candy. Sharing a quiet moment with that special Valentine while enjoying a heart-shaped box of chocolates. And of course, watching the joy and excitement of a child on Easter morning when they see that first baby bakes. At Palmer, we're proud to have been involved in so many special moments over the past 50 years. And we'll be there to create more tasty traditions for generations to come.
Well, this time of year isn't reserved just for Oscar. It's also the time of the year when the Easter Bunny makes his rounds. And tonight, we're at R.M. Palmer Company in Reading, where the Easter Bunny picks up an awful lot of his supplies. In fact, millions of these little guys come off the assembly line here. We'll find out how they make them in just a little while. These here at Palmer's just keep on multiplying and multiplying. Welcome back to more of PM Magazine. You know, Nancy, Easter just wouldn't be Easter without little chocolate bunnies like this guy. They're as much a part of the holiday as our spring flowers and decorated eggs.
Well, we thought you might like to see where a lot of those chocolate bunnies come from, so tonight we're touring the R.M. Palmer Company right here in Reading.
The Easter Bunny has gone high-tech. A computer actually controls the amount of chocolate needed for each bunny. After the molds are cooled, each bunny's inspected by hand. No half-baked bunnies get out of here.
Now, although he already looks like a bunny, the folks at Palmer add their own special touches. Handmade eyes and bow ties complete the look. Then it's down the line to be wrapped and packaged just in time for the Easter Bunny's delivery.
Well, this is Rich Palmer, who's the president of R.M. Palmer Company in Reading. Rich, I wonder, how many of these little guys do you make?
Well, Doug, this is only one of about 75 different varieties of bunnies that we make. We make over 150,000 pieces every day, which amounts to, geez, maybe 25 million a year, something like that.
Gosh, that sounds like an awful lot of calories. But on Easter morning, I suppose it doesn't matter. Everyone digs into the Easter basket.
You mean I have to wait?
I know you. I don't think he's going to wait.
I'm not going to wait. Let's take a look at tomorrow night's PM.
Well, a big thanks to everyone at R.M. Palmer and, of course, to the Easter Bunny.
And when you're in the store and you see a bunny blue ribbon
Or a Peter Candy tail.
well, you'll know it's a Palmer. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night.